Hi, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Alegria in Kansas City. Today, we are on location at 3600 Main, right here in Kansas City at Cypher Sound Studio. Cypher Sound Studio is a recording studio right in the heart of the Central District of Kansas City, where budding artists and aspiring stars can come down and give it a shot. So let's get started. Let's take a look at the studio and let's meet our friend, the owner of this place.
Welcome, Fabian.
Hey,
Welcome
Bob Bibb. Bob is the owner of Cypher Sound Studio. And Bob, let me ask you, before we go in and take a look at this place, how long did it take to put all this together?
That's a good question. It all started about 20 years ago, and this was something totally different, and we pretty much had to gut the inside and build the studio back out, and it took over 20 dumpsters of trash, I will tell you that, to clear it out, and then build it back. And it's a labor of love. It's you have to love music to absorb yourself in this, and it's been a great ride, and we're going to do some more.
Well, I'm excited. I've seen some photos online, and now I'm going to get to see the place for myself live and in person. So let's go.
Come on in.
She ain't looking back. Been out of town, been traveling around, getting ready to get back home. She's got the rhythm, I got the rock.
Here we go, Fabian. What do you think? A fun place.
Wow, I can honestly say, Bob, I have never been in a room quite like this. I don't see any 90s in here. I don't see any square lines. Is there a reason for that?
There are no right angles, so we don't get any sound waves that cancel each other out and that sort of thing. But this is the live room, and we're like a high ceiling and irregular, but all kinds of different musicians can perform in here. And we've had up to an 18-piece Kansas City Jazz Orchestra to just singer, guitarists, and keyboardists write their own songs. But this is where the magic happens. A lot of times on this carpeting right here, we put the drum set, and we may put 6 to 9 microphones on the drum set. But around us here are isolation rooms, and we can put amplifiers and people in the different rooms to get sound separation between the instruments if we're recording the whole band live. But if we go over to the other side here, we have our piano room here, and this is a very special instrument. I've been in studios, Sony studios in New York, and studios in LA and Nashville, and even Muscle Shoals, Alabama, Fame Studios. This is a Yamaha C6 grand piano, 7 foot. It's a premier. Piano players love it. But my pride and joy is this one other instrument right here.
Uh-oh, the pride and joy.
This is a Hammond B3 organ. And Hammond quit making these things in 1974. And the speaker that goes with it is called a Leslie. It has spinning speakers and all inside. Hammond makes an electronic version of this, but all the purists, and you'll see these on stage with big bands and in the movies and all that, the Hammond B3 is a magical instrument. It has a sound like nothing else.
Can you play it?
No. I'm a guitar player. But I love to hang out here and love to see all kinds of different people, from kids to church choirs to rappers to jazz, blues, alternative. It all happens here.
So that's got to be a fun job.
Oh, it is. It is. It's tremendous.
I'm not 100% certain if we're disturbing her or not, but well, I see we have someone in here. Is she recording now?
Well, we have a little something going on, and we should check that out. This is the vocal booth, and should I walk in on her?
Absolutely.
Okay. And Alba is doing a little some Spanish music today, but she's singing into a Neumann U87 microphone. That George Martin made that famous at Abbey Road Studios, recording the Beatles.
Yes.
But in that room also, a few years ago, we had Ed Sheeran standing in that booth.
Did you hear that, folks? Ed Sheeran was here. Ed Sheeran. Wow. Why was Ed Sheeran here? Was he here just to record?
Well, he was, yes. Aaron, who we're going to meet in a minute, very, accomplished recording engineer, and Atlantic Records called him, said Ed Sheeran was on tour. He was going to do a concert at Sprint Center, but he had a day off in his touring schedule, and they wanted a guy named Martin Garrix, an electronic dance music EDM DJ, to come here and meet Ed. And for the first time, Ed recorded an EDM song.
Oh, wow.
So
folks, here at Cypher Sound Studios, we have everything from Alva Lopez, and she's a local singer, is that right?
yes,
Alva is a local Kansas Cityan performing here, and we've also had Ed Sheeran here. So I feel special that we even get the opportunity to record here. This is great for us to do this and to witness the process. So
I'd be remiss
go right ahead, sir.
briefly mentioning the most accomplished singing group in the history of Kansas City recorded an album here a few years ago, Bloodstone. They're a old school slow jam kind of Motown. They've had a big platinum hit back in the day. It was called Natural High. In fact, Quentin Tarantino used that in his movie Jackie Brown.
Wow.
But Bloodstone is still out doing it. They do big concerts in places like Sprint with the Shylights and the Stylistics and people like
The
that.
Shylights. So folks, this isn't like chump class here. We're in the high, tall cotton today.
Up to the sky in a natural high.
And he can do that. We'll find out if I can sing later. I'm going to give it a shot. And I also noticed you have lava lamps in this place. I feel like
You can't be a real studio if you don't have at least one lava lamp, and we've got about 4 of them here, so that makes us a professional
Will we
place.
get to meet her?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Well, fantastic. So we're going to have so many cool things to do after the break. We're going to go to the break. Is that all right with you?
Yeah, you bet.
All right, fantastic. We're going to throw it to break. Then we'll be right back here at Cypher Sound Studio with Bob Bibb and Alva Lopez. And I think we've got Aaron on the other side of that glass. See you soon.
How does the moon cut his hair? I don't know. How does the moon cut his hair? He clips it.
Welcome back to Alegria in Kansas City. I'm your host, Fabian Shepard, and we had a great time in the first segment. We got to listen to Alva Lopez and watch her record, and now we're on set here at the soundboard. This is called a soundboard, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm making things
Call
up.
it a console, you could call it a desk.
Okay, well, as you know, our aim here with this show is to educate, inform, and inspire, and we hope to inform you about what it's like to record in a professional sound studio. We have Bob Bibb, the owner of Cypher Sound Studios, with us, and we have a new face. This is Aaron Connor. He's the general manager here. Aaron, I'm so glad you could join us.
Thank you.
Now, we were listening to Alva Lopez record, and you were doing some things in here. Can you tell me exactly what you do with this soundboard?
Well, with Alva, we were adjusting levels, and basically I was just giving her some tips on where she was with pitch and timing and things like that. But it's a pretty simple setup right now. We're just running a mic through a mic pre and seeing how it's sounding.
Yeah, it sounds simple to you.
Yeah.
To the rest of us, this is a lot of stuff.
Right, right.
Now, you've got to have a lot of experience to be able to do something like this. And I understand that you've got a wealth of experience, including a Grammy Award.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
What did you win the Grammy Award for? What was that work?
Well, that was for Bone Thugs and Harmony, and that was for the song Crossroads.
Yeah, you know, I take a look at you and you look exactly like a Bone Thugs and Harmony type of guy.
Right? Well, you know, those guys were really good friends of mine. I met them when they were very young, 16 years old, and did every album with them.
Wow.
9 albums.
9 albums
They
with
sold
them.
30 million records, I believe.
30 million records.
Yeah.
That is a lot. And I also understand you have some gold records?
Oh yeah, I've got lots of gold records actually.
He
for
says that
lots
so
of-
smugly, folks. A lot like everyone else. I just have so many. How many gold records do you think you have?
I've got 56 gold and platinum records.
You know, I said think you have, as if he would know exactly how many gold records he actually has. And so Bob Bibb here, he just found you standing on a corner someday with Bone Thugs and Harmony and said, "Hey, white guy."
No.
How'd you guys get together? How'd this happen?
Well, when I first came back to Kansas City in 2003, after being in LA for about almost 15 years, I was working as a freelancer and found this studio, and I sublet the studio for projects of my own. And Bob and I met because of that, because I think I was looking to expand, and we met during that meeting, and then later on, I took over the place.
That's been shortly over 15 years ago now. That
Wow.
Aaron's run the
time
place.
flies when things are fun, right?
Yeah.
So Bob, I know that you started this studio, but you haven't done this all your life. What'd you do before this studio?
Well, I say music is my avocation, but my vocation is engineering. I've had an engineering company for one way or the other for 40 years.
Okay, now I know a little bit about this. Would you please tell everyone what type of engineering?
We are best known for power plant engineering.
Okay.
And we kind of, as the time goes by, different kinds of fuels and things. Right now, we're heavily into green energy and use of waste fuels and hydrogen and other things. Over 10 years ago, we won a Renewable Project of the Year for a solar power plant we did in California. But that's how I am able to have a not-for-profit business here. And Aaron is a little bit understated. You were right a while ago. There are a lot of knobs and buttons and computer systems and software and things here. We have a library of almost 50 microphones of different types. And it's very technical, but at the end of the day, it's those ears and what he hears and to make the sounds. Otherwise, it sounds like mush. But
Right.
Aaron lends clarity to that and distinction and blend. And
So Aaron, do you have a degree in this?
I do.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you've been doing this ever since school, is that right?
That's correct.
And
Yeah.
and Bob, you don't have a music degree.
correct.
Your degree is?
Aerospace engineering.
That's what I wanted to get him to say. He's a rocket scientist, folks. He's a rocket scientist. That's what I wanted to get him.
Okay.
So when listen, all of you young people, if you become a rocket scientist, then you can enjoy your hobby the rest of your life, okay? Go to school, become a rocket scientist, meet somebody that knows his stuff, and buy a sound studio. That's how you do it.
Right. There you go.
So this is fantastic, and I was hoping we could get Alva to come over here. Sounds like she's done, and so is that okay if we invite her over?
Sure.
Is that cool? Okay, so can we have Alva come on over?
Absolutely. That's the magic of the studio, is performing. And Alva, come on in and talk to the guys.
Okay, so now we've got Alva Lopez here, who was recording when we were doing our interview in the beginning part of this show, in the first segment. And seated with Alva is, of course, Aaron O'Connor, the general manager. Aaron, I'm going to ask you first about working with someone like Alva. Is that different than working with the big stars, or is everything the same in your world?
It's the same, actually. What really is the difference is budget. How long do we have to work on something until we get it perfect? You know.
Gotcha. So Alva, how long have you been performing? How long have you done this?
I've been singing for 6 years now.
For 6 years. And you're a Kansas City native,
Yes.
and Kansas City, Kansas?
Yes.
Okay. So what else do you do? This isn't your full-time profession, is it?
No, I'm a full-time mom.
You're a mom.
Yeah.
With this hardest job in the world, most
Yes.
important job in the world.
Yes.
Well, so as you know, we talked about Ed Sheeran being here, so you
Oh,
know
yeah.
they've had some famous folks. Do you get chills when you're
Yes.
using the same
I feel
studio?
butterflies in my tummy when they tell me that. And when I sing it in front of that microphone, it's amazing.
Well, you have an amazing voice.
Thank you.
And you should be proud of it. It was
Thanks.
great to listen to you. Can I sing something with you later?
Of course. Are you
Torture!
sure?
Here it comes! Torture! So now, what about when you're working with? Obviously, she's got a multitude of talent.
Oh yeah, beautiful.
Ed Sheeran as well, Bone Thugs and Harmony, who you mentioned.
Yeah.
What about when you're working with someone like me, an aspiring singer?
Somebody that can't sing?
Somebody that's just, man, can't carry a tune in a bucket. When you're working with someone like that, aren't there things you can do, you can fiddle around to make them sound good?
Yeah, to a certain extent. You know, there is tuning pushes that we can do. There's some auto tuning that we can do. Auto tuning is real dependent on if you're close to the key. If you're completely tone deaf, there's not much I can do there. I'll have to guide you a bit.
Or should I
that's
try with
okay.
you?
Yeah.
Well, and Alva, when you're singing with someone that maybe has more talent than you, is it intimidating?
Yes, it's always intimidating because I don't feel that I'm the best because I hear a lot of partners they're singing in the town too, and they are so talented.
You know, and that never goes away. Anytime you hear the big stars, they talk about someone else, and they, you know, it's like they gush and say that person's so good. I wish I was that good.
Right.
And for the rest of us, that you know, we mortals, it's like we can't tell the difference.
Right.
We always, well, in my person, I always feel intimidated because I don't want to lose the floor, you know.
Sure.
So
No, that's good to
it's
stay
better-
grounded.
Yeah.
Yeah, I performed with a guy named Boney James, and we were talking about Miles Davis and how great Miles Davis was, and I was thinking, Miles Davis was pretty good. You're good too, you know.
Right. Yeah.
So, if it's someone like me, Alva, who's not talented,
Okay.
instead of being intimidated, do you get irritated?
No, I try to help them. I try to say, hey, why you don't do like this or why you don't do like that. So I try to help them.
So you teach and mentor, help people along.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I'm
Actually-
glad I got nice people here because this is going to be bad.
It takes a lot of patience. There's a lot of patience that you have to
Yeah.
have to work as an engineer or a producer. When you're working with people, they have their inspiration. You want to help them. It's your job to get them to where they want to be.
So I was talking with Bob earlier, and we were in the green room, and he talked about long nights. Do you have that when you
Oh, sure.
those
sure.
sessions go?
Yeah, yeah. Especially when I was out in LA with no kids. You know, I don't think I ever came home. I was, you know, doing
Pretty much lived in-
15-hour days, 18-hour days were very normal for me.
Wow.
Well, fantastic. What is something you want everyone in Kansas City to know about Cypher Sound Studios?
This is the best. And I'm the best in Kansas City. We're the only place that has gold and platinum records hanging on the walls. I guarantee it.
So if I want to come down and record, if I've got my horn or my guitar or my voice, I just reach out to Cypher Sound and I book a time?
Yeah, you just call us. I'll talk to you about what you're trying to do, and I'll help you get to where you're trying to go. I'll let you know where we're going to be at budget-wise. I have a really good internal calculator as far as knowing how long a project's probably going to take based on just some real easy information that people give me about what they want.
So I also understand that you've done movie soundtrack. What's that like?
It's basically the same as doing an album. There's two different kinds of soundtracks. There's soundtracks that have a lot of pop songs, and I've done those types of soundtracks. And then there's like movie scores where you're sitting there with a person that is scoring the movie as they're looking at the scenes on a screen. And that's much more deep and much more involved. And I've done a little bit of that. Sometimes you have to have a whole orchestra in to do something like that. But sometimes it's just a guy sitting there with a keyboard, you know, a synclav or something like that. But for the most part, most of the soundtracks I've done, which I've done over a dozen soundtracks, they were just basically like recording pop songs that were included in the movie.
How fun. Well, I'm ready. I'm ready to give it a shot. I'm going to record and you know, this is going to be fun for me.
Are you sure?
May not be for you, but this is going to be fun for me. I'm going to have a ball doing it.
Right on.
So,
I'm excited.
is that where we go? I step into there?
That's the vocal booth.
All right,
That's
so
it.
let's give it a shot. You guys hold on to your seats.
Oh, I guess I have to put your flat feet on the ground. When I said that, listen, all you wanna do is ride around, Sally. Ride, Sally, ride. All you wanna do is ride around, Sally. All you wanna do is ride around, Sally. Ride, Sally, ride. All you wanna do is ride around, Sally. Ride, Sally, ride. One of these early mornings, you got to be wiping your weeping eyes. Gosh, I wish I could sing now. I bought you a brand new Mustang, a 1965. Now you come around signifying, woman, you don't want to let me ride. Mustang Sally.
Hey, today's experience was really fun, and we want to thank Bob Bibb, of course, Aaron Connor, and Alva Lopez for performing with me. We got to record together, and I hope it didn't hurt you too badly. We hope you will join us again for another episode of Alegria in Kansas City. And remember, Alegria in Kansas City is brought to you by Televida, a production of EXO Films.
Te vi sin que me vieras, te hablé sin que me oyeras, y toda mi amargura se ahogó dentro de mí. Me duele hasta la vida saber que me olvidaste, pensar que mil desprecios merezca yo de ti. Y sin embargo sigues unido a mi existencia. Y si vivo 100 años, pienso en ti.